What's up, everybody? I'm Michael Allen, and this is the Movie Minute. This episode of the Movie Minute, we are reviewing Flow, the new fantasy animal adventure animated movie that flew heavily under the radar, but was absolutely a festival darling. So, if you're looking for a non-spoiler review of Flow, let's jump on in. This film was inspiring from a lot of different angles. First off, this film was helmed by Gints Zilbalotis, a Latvian filmmaker, and he did it all, folks. I mean, he produced it, he wrote it, he directed it, he art directed it, he did cinematography for it, he also edited it. I mean, this was a very much a personal passion project for Gints. Another interesting fact about this film is there's no spoken word dialogue in this film. And I found that really interesting because a lot of the bulk of the work that I've done as a filmmaker over the years has been non-dialogue content. Another insane thing is this film was made in Blender, which is an open source software that anybody can get and use. People like this guy made an entire film in Blender. The reality of that is mind-blowing, and the fact that he delivered what he did is also mind-blowing. The film is very charming, and the story is about this cat who's very solitary, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a global flood hits the world that this cat lives in. And the cat then has to survive this flood while also meeting friends along the way and also seeking enlightenment. Yes, I said seeking enlightenment because that's what this movie is ultimately about. It's very, very unique, and you just really rarely ever know where this film is going to take you. I'm really glad that this film made its way into US theaters. There was an element of surprise in this film, and that was very much welcome. First off, this film features several animals as our heroes of the story. Cat is the main focus, but several others get introduced throughout the film. And each one of these animals really had a distinct personality. And that's hard to do with no dialogue, but they did it so well. You really know these animals well by the end of the film, which is so surprising with no dialogue. And I loved that each animal had a very unique element to it, how it moved, how it sounded. There was just a lot of intentionality put into each one of these characters, and I really appreciated that. Also, the story is just very simple yet complex. I got to the end of this film and it challenges you on an existential level, which is just insane for a little movie about cats and other animals and friendship in the course of a global flood. Like, it's just such a weird, zany idea, but Gints really brought it all together in a really good way. It just was beautiful. I mean, it was a beautiful film and a very unique style of animation, which is really awesome. I love it when somebody brings something unique to the style. He really leveraged Blender, and Blender is fairly limited in what it can do from an animation standpoint, but he leveraged its strengths well and gave us something that truly is a beautiful film. The film is beautiful from a writing standpoint and from a visual standpoint. This movie, from a story standpoint, was crafted so carefully that me, as in my late 30s, can really connect with and understand, as well as a 3-year-old can watch and understand and connect with the characters. It's just very special. I think first off, when you have a film with no dialogue, no matter what you do, there are going to be things that just don't fully make sense. And that does happen in this film. And I think especially as you kind of get towards the end of this film and where Gints tries to take it from a theme standpoint, it is hard to communicate some themes without words. And it did struggle a little bit in the end, kind of just giving some clarity to how the story wrapped up. I think that there's a few things that just weren't quite able to be communicated. I think the second thing that's also pretty nitpicky, but Towards the end as well, there was a few interesting choices made in terms of story balance and narrative and how things were all tied up that I just thought could have been left out completely. The movie was already short and didn't feel long, but there was just some things that bogged down Act 3 for me and took away from some of the big questions that he was asking at the end of the film. And so I was a little bit bummed about that, but that's very nitpicky. Overall, those are really the only two things that I didn't enjoy about this film. From an entertainment standpoint, this film was just so charming and beautiful. I was fully entertained the entire movie, and I give it a solid 9 out of 10 for entertainment. It just was fun to watch, and it hit me in the heartstrings a couple times as well. And so it just did a good job for what it was. From a critics rating, I mean, I could it have been better in certain ways? Yes, right? With a little bit more money, a little bit more funding, quality in different places. But for what it is, he did an incredible job. And so I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10 for critics rating in terms of the filmmaker ability that he put into this. It really was very solid. So 8.5 out of 10 for flow. At the end of the day, this film is just a surprise, and it's a joyful surprise. It's something that really awakens the magic inside you, and it is encouraging because it's a thing that says, hey, anybody can make a movie if you really put your mind to it. At the end of the day, Flow is a wonderful experience of fantasy and animal adventure that's worthy of a family watch. And so I would fully encourage you, I would implore you to go take your kids to see this movie. These are the movies that help change the industry. Small, heartfelt movies that are well done, that really impress you from a story standpoint and from a visual standpoint. And so I can't recommend Flow enough as something you should go to the theater and catch this weekend. If you're looking for more non-spoiler reviews from a filmmaker perspective, hit that like button, subscribe. Would love to have you a part of this community with me. And until next time, everybody, peace out.